Hello and welcome back to my gaming channel thing, diving more into those retro consoles. Now this one, believe it or not, I don't believe I ever actually opened. I think I opened it once, maybe, I don't remember, but I got this for Christmas, not this past Christmas, but last year, so about a year, and I've had this thing for almost a year and a half now without never using it. Sorry Mom, I just haven't had a chance to, it's not that I haven't had a chance to hook it up, it's just my entertainment system area is such a fucking clusterfuck of just systems, and I should show you a picture, or flash a picture up here, and you'll see that it's a fucking mess. I need to redo and rethink, and I just don't feel like doing it because I think everything has its neat little place, and aside from this wire fucking catastrophe mess, I like the way it kind of looks, and this doesn't fit into it. Neither did the NES, that's why I packed that away, and I even had a Sega Genesis version of this. But getting back to the topic on hand, open boxing this thing. Now, this box is bigger and massive than what it needs to be, and I don't know why. It's just too big for whatever reason to house this Atari in there, and I don't really have many memories playing an Atari. Back in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s, my mother did a lot of garage selling, and she picked up an Atari for like 10 bucks, and I would find games almost weekly. And I remember playing some of these, but I never really had a real attachment to it. Not only that, but I had to get this weird TV configuration in order to actually get the goddamn thing to fucking work. Because even in the late 90s, it was hard to get it to work to a TV. You had to have a special thing, and sometimes that thing didn't work with the thing, and yeah, it was a whole mess. Alright, so let's dive into this. And let's see, there's that box. I'm very stretched because this thing is massive. And it comes with lots of games, most of which I don't think I've ever played in my life. Like I said, there's no real attachment, but let's just open this thing and see let's show that side. Oh yeah! In no way am I sitting by and doing that. I mean, I don't think I'll be as happy as that dude, and the guy's like, oh yeah, in the background, and your girlfriend, and yeah, no. Yeah, this is the type of shit that you would find sold at like Bed Bath & Beyond during Christmas time, or like at Target and shit like that, and then you won't see it again until Christmas rolls around. There's a reason for it. Now, I don't know if my mother actually got this brand new or if it was used, because there's no plastic on this thing whatsoever. Yep, there goes that. I don't think this was ever... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever actually... Whatever reason... Yeah, let me see if I can do it. I don't think I ever... Yeah. I don't think it was ever had the plasticky stuff on here. Alright, let's take out the console itself. The goddamn box is so fucking big. Now, this is definitely bigger than the other ones. I guess the biggest advantage is if you have an actual Atari controller, you can plug in your own. But aside from that, there's really no advantage. Also, what makes this thing so terrible on any modern TV is just why these... I mean, the Nintendo one, I get it. This is supposed to be cheap, and they're sold, and these things are sold for about $20. But I mean, why these? I'm not gonna lie, you would be hard pressed to find a new TV that even has these inputs anymore. So I mean, that's obviously they're meant for these for I'm assuming people that are used to it. So people that are probably my age, early 40s, maybe late 50s or early 50s, will have more of an attachment to this. So they might have a TV that is laying around that actually has these, but I can't say how well they sound. Well, Atari games didn't sound that great to begin with, but the Sega Genesis one, I gotta show you all that one. If you haven't heard it, it sounds absolutely atrocious. Getting off the topic of this is what you get in here. You have your power button, you have your start button, you have your difficulty settings, and you have your select for the different games. But what this one doesn't have is you can't actually use Atari cartridges, which is kind of disappointing. Not that I have money to begin with, and not that the ones I would have would even be, wouldn't be included. But there's that. And let's see, you have a power plug, not USB, standard, regular old little power plug that goes into the wall. It could have been USB, considering this is only 5 volt 5 watt, actually not even 5 volt 5 milliamp. So if I were to plug a USB charger in, this would be too much amperage. I'd blow the thing up. But the biggest draw that they have of these consoles are the controllers are wireless. Now, I will say something very positive about this. Never even opened this up. What I will say very positive is this feels, for as much as it kind of feels cheap, maybe because the rubber is here, it feels newer than the last time I ever held an Atari controller. This is about the same size of one, come out the top, but I mean, it feels very Atari-like. I don't know, it feels like it would be responsive. I haven't actually used this, but it clicks, it seems to rotate, doesn't feel stiff or anything, and seems like you can easily, just very lightly jiggle it with your thumb. So, I mean, and the button feels very buttony, it feels very responsive. It probably doesn't feel like a real Atari controller, but it probably is just as responsive as one. And this one they give you two in, unlike the NES one, and this must be the master switch. Alright, I guess there's one where you can hit select. I guess that makes sense. This is player number 2, this is player number 1. So that way you don't have to get up each time, which is nice. Unlike the Nintendo one where it didn't even have anything, where you had to mash it, but then again the controller was so short, or the cable was so short, that didn't make much difference anyways. So, but this one at least has, you can point it at it infraredly, and make sure that you're pointing it infraredly and pointing it at this, because if you're not directly pointing it at it, if I couldn't play this with that thing in the box, it just wouldn't work. So you have to physically point it at the device and make sure the infrareds connect. And so I guess that's nice. It's got a nice little reset button here, select button, start button, the on-off toggle. The on-off toggles feel a little stiff though, but aside from that, it feels kind of good. Why? Like I said, now that I'm looking at this again, I don't know why I didn't exactly put it in my setup, but if I flash a thing of my setup, you see why I didn't do it. It's just a fucking mess. But at the same time, what's limiting me is this. I have an HDMI splitter that I use for my systems. Yeah, that doesn't work. I do have an AV switcher box that I have used for different devices. Like I do have it for PlayStation 2. I have a splitter box. To work with my Dreamcast and all that stuff. I should upgrade it, but to be fair, upgrading that stuff to work with HDMI doesn't guarantee you better results. The upscaling can be even worse when you're trying to plug it in there, but I would leave it at that. Oh, but it did say it did come with a little manual at AtGames. They're notorious for just shovelware Christmas systems, and this is way more documentation that you probably needed ever, but it pretty much explains how to play each game in 1 and 2 players. So I mean, it's not terrible. I can't lie. I mean, at least it comes with a little manual, and because there's probably no onboard manual. It's probably just select game and start, as per usual. But at least it tells you, gives you all the controls and little thing. But I don't know if this was on there or not. But yeah. So that is the Atari Flashback unboxing, I guess you could say. You don't get really a lot in there. It's just that. Thanks again for watching, or whatever, and ta-da.